Right. Jonathan Rea, 6 times World Superbike champion, live from some flash pad down under. How are
Yeah, good mate, good. I've well, I feel like the last round has just been, but then I've been back in Europe since, and then back out to Australia again. We made the decision as a family. My wife hadn't been home for since pre-COVID, so we decided to take the kids out and homeschool them after the race, and yeah, we're going to stay out here till the 30th of December. So it's nice trip. I expected better weather. It's more Belfast summer than Melbourne summer, but
we?
it's is what it is.
When you say you've taken a decision to homeschool them, who's actually going to do that?
Well, honestly, when I'm around, I went back to Europe for a bit, um, but when I'm around, I try to get stuck in and do it. Um,
Stop.
but the teachers were really good with us. They give us all the work that we need to do, and it's pretty straightforward at 9-year-old and 7-year-old age groups. But they actually, what I've realised is they've either give us not too little work, or they don't actually do much at school. I mean, we can get through. We can get through one. They don't have a lot of attention spans, to be fair, but we're getting through quite a bit. But I think 1 hour is enough for a kid, and they need a break. And then it's if you can get another solid hour, and then you're doing really well.
Yeah, we did it during lockdown. No, never again. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's
Never again. And I would, no, no, thanks. And speaking of small things, how do you solve a problem like Alvaro Bautista?
well, it's hard. He's obviously getting the very best out of that bike, and he's obviously a very talented rider himself. So, I mean, my biggest thing we need to compete with him right now is power, because too many occasions this year they just have free speed on the straight, um, and it's very hard to make up, to make up that deficit. You can there's only so much you can take risk, and the energy you put through the tires riding on that maximum limit, the risk you take to go down yourself is a lot. So um, I mean, I don't think he would like to admit it, but he was controlling things quite a lot this year. Um, but it's just the way it is. I think I'm enjoying getting everything out of myself. It's not like I haven't been here in my career, but before. And I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying going into every single detail with my team, trying to extract the best out of them as well as myself and the bike. So, um, but yeah, we're not scratching our heads, but we know we need to do work to catch up.
I mean, is it going to be difficult to get more power out of what is effectively quite an old engine now?
Yeah, of course. Because what what's hard in Superbike is all our bikes are derived from production bikes. So that means you sell a bike from 15,000 euros, you're racing against something that can cost 44,000 euros. So the set of technical regs are there to try to help, but you can't just magically create a new bike. These are bikes they're mass production bikes created on a production line. And already last year, Kawasaki made a new bike, new aerodynamics, different engine components. So I think it's going to be very hard to, just change that up again. So it's one of them. I think they're working incredibly hard, but it's what we need is power right now. I think the rest of the bike, from a chassis point of view and electronics, is it's very very strong. I think it's enviable to some in the paddock. It
Yeah.
does amazing things, especially when we got grip as well. And then lower temperatures. I think our flaw this year has been, the very last laps of the race in hot conditions. We need to improve. But I think we can still do that without needing too much on the engine side. So there's still work to be done, if you like.
Alex said to me that the biggest problem he's having is front end grip when it's really, really hot. Are you does your data say the same thing, pretty much?
Yes. Yes, that is an area, but I think the biggest area for me is um, rear traction right on the side of the tire. In the latter parts of the race, when the tire grip drops, that's an area we're trying to focus this off season. But it's really hard in the off season because the grip levels are so high because the temperatures are low.
Yeah.
Also, you've got to run through lots of different ideas that the team want to go through, so you're not just doing race simulation after race simulation. Also from a physical point of view, you can't just back to back two different setups with a race simulation, and then suddenly you'd be running into hundreds of laps at a test, and physically it's impossible. So it is quite hard, but we've got a finger on an area that we can improve, and I think time will tell with it. There's no magic fix.
Are you able to go into any details of what that might be, or is that very top secret?
Not really, just from no, just from a chassis point of view. Some things we tried in the middle end of the season. I've got to say, the work and atmosphere inside KRT this year has been amazing. Not like in the past, that's where there was clearly a division in the team, or like an invisible wall, let's say. I think when times are tough, it can mark the reaction of people, and I've got to say, everyone's really mucked in and working together, and the box is a great place to be. Even though we're not on top of the podium every weekend, we're all working in one way together, which is really, really good.
So have Perry and Marcel buried the hatchet as such, or are they just sort of tolerating each other now?
No, I think, like I said, so it sounds I was going to say when you're at rock bottom, but we're not exactly at rock bottom. we're doing very well, but in difficult moments, you've got to work together. It's not like in the past when Tom and I were battling for 1-2 in championships, or we need to work together. I think everyone in the garage and the box is mature enough to do that. Whether Perry has some good ideas, he explains that to the other side. It's up to them whether they use it. And of course, when they have some great ideas, we're the first. Perry and myself have no ego. We're the first to try anything they find that's good. So we are working in a better way. We came together this year a few times in meetings to talk about that, to talk about working, and I think the relationship really helps because Alex and I really get on and off the track, and in the box as well. Whether it be me giving him a wheel or him giving me a wheel in practice sessions, and it's working really well.
You've got your old team non-mate Tom back in the fold for 2023. Are you not looking forward to that very much, or
no? Well, to be fair,
everything that's gone past, and you're gonna start again and try and be pleasant.
Well, it's no difference. It doesn't make any big difference. I think it's a bonus that he's there. He's a great rider, great talent. I can see firsthand from his data when I was there. I learned a lot from him. But he's not involved in the team. He's a satellite rider with lots of different components on his bikes. Suspension, different electronic guys, different crew chiefs. They're not involved in debriefs. Of course, I'm sure he'll be supported in some capacity, but Alex is my teammate and we work well together, so it doesn't really have a bearing. I hope from Kawasaki's point of view, he can do well, because they're a manufacturer that deserves to be up there. I think in the last couple of seasons, since Top Rack left that Pacetti team, they haven't been that force that they were back in 17, 18. So hopefully he can give them some good news, because it's a great team. It's a great people as well. And I'm often found in there on a Friday or Saturday night draining the tiramisu. So yeah, I would like to see Manuel Pichetti and all them guys get some good results.
We've got some other new boys coming in the shape of Danilo Petrucci to Barney and Remy Gardner into Yamaha. Is that a thing that you're happy about, or is it, oh my God, more people?
No, no, it's good. I think because they're obviously just like you mentioned, there's a bit of aura about both of them. But also, not just them. There's Brad Ray's coming across as well.
I was going to mention that.
Um,
I was going to go to the ex-MotoGP guys first.
yeah, but I think you never know. I always say you can't judge what's going to happen until quite a few races. But of course, they bring a bit of superstar power to World Superbikes. Danielo's not long away from winning his home GP in MotoGP. Only a few seasons ago. He needs no introduction. Remy, a world champion in his own right, MotoGP rider, but there's always high expectations when they come over. Remy's coming with a great bike. You've seen what Garrett Gerloff could do on that bike when he was firing on all cylinders. Danilo coming with Ducati. I'm sure it'll be a well supported outfit. So there's a lot of expectation on them guys as well.
It'll be interesting to see the difference between Danilo, who is a lump, and Alvaro, who isn't, on almost the same motorbike.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there'll be black Ducati shirts calling for a weight limit, and red Ducati shirts not calling for a weight limit. It's one of them.
What's your viewpoint on the whole weight limit thing?
Yeah, honestly, I've tried to stay out of it. Try to stay quite neutral because my opinion doesn't matter. It's what I have to race, what I have. The regs in front of you and race all the other riders. But it's really frustrating. And I'm of average build. Let's say I'm not small and I'm not super large, but it's genetics that determine that. And if you're Scott Redding, who's as lean as I've seen Scott, he's carrying no body fat whatsoever, but he's a big, strong lad. Also, Loris Baz is as lean as I've ever seen him. Them guys are getting close to 100 kilos. They're in it with all their kit on, so they start the race at a huge disadvantage. Whatever way you look at it, the weight they have to accelerate and decelerate and change direction. Also the energy they put through the bike, the tires. But where do you stop? It's not pure athlete based, this sport either, and it's a production based championship. And I'm not exactly sure who it was that introduced a conversation of weight limits, but it's working very well in lots of other production championships, Moto 2, Moto 3, the Super Sport 300, Super Sport 600. Car racing use it. So I think it's a natural progression, but I think that it's, from what's been said, it is something that's going to happen in 2024. But with the racing this year, and Alvaro's pretty much pushed the pass button on the straight. Everyone was wanting that accelerator because he is the only guy that's able to do that. I have to be fair, because if whilst Ronaldo is a lot faster than me on the straight, I can still suck his slipstream, and not lose too many meters. But Alvaro, is another 10 kilos lighter than him already, so it's it's tough. But he's got no say in that. I'm sure he has his disadvantages from being that side, but I think to be consistent through all the classes, it's something it is gonna happen in the future, and probably the sooner the better.
When you look at Bautista, you look at Ronaldo. I mean, he's just getting that bike off the turn quicker than Ronaldo, surely, because they're not hugely different in size.
Yeah, but yes, there is that. There's also the Bautista. I don't want to take anything away from Alvaro. You know, he's a Grand Prix winner. He's got a big pedigree. Um, you know, Ronaldo, as good as he is, he's not Alvaro Bautista, and so it's big respect to him for what he's doing. He's obviously very clever as well. He's learned a lot from Superbike when he first arrived. So yeah, he has my credit, to be fair, on the bike, but you know, I think he's done a pretty decent job this year.
Now, Brad Ray comes in as another Brit on the Moto X Yamaha. He's only going to do the European rounds, I think, to the 2023. What kind of approach do you think he should take?
Um, it's hard because
Bearing in mind your approach, when
it's
you
hard.
came into Superbike was go.
Yeah, but you know, I think it's what he's done is great because he's showed ambition. Because you know the BSB Championship's so good, it's such a high level. There's not really any reason to leave other than having high ambitions to make it in the World Championship. So um, the only thing going for him, or the most thing that's going for him, is the team he's joining. As much as it's a team that's only doing the European legs, that Tamburini that was on that bike this year did do very well. For the people that know, they actually know that he done rather well. Um, you know, I really rate Brad. You know, I see him doing even better than that, to be fair. And you know, I can't give him advice. He knows what he's doing. He's a really nice lad. I don't know him that well, but I've met him a few times, and he seems like a great lad. So, yeah, I wish him all the best. And um, yeah, I'm sure it'd be nice to see him somewhere in Donington, you know, where he can do a really good job. You be at the front in a familiar territory, or Assen, you know, tracks he's been to and he really knows. You know, he's seen a lot of these tracks as well when he was younger. But yeah, it's tough, especially starting a little bit later. Everyone's up to speed, so let's hope it gets some good preseason testing under his belt.
Now you're a six-time world champion. You've been doing this a million years. You've got houses all over the world. Are you still as motivated to win races as you were 10 years ago?
Yeah, more more so. Yeah, more so. It's yeah, it's hard to explain. I think it's managing expectations now more than anything. Because you know, I don't. There was a time, I think the 19 season when Alvaro came and was smashing me, you know, by I don't know 15 seconds for the first few races. That was a huge wake up call that I just need. Hey, not that it is what it is, but you have to accept tough moments, and I think I dealt with that very good. Then, of course, Top Rack moving to Yamaha and his how he's managed that situation's been very good. But just last year, even there wasn't too many times I was beat by a lot of seconds. You know, even when I was third, being beat by Alvaro and Top Rack, I was just dropping off the group at the end. So there's always reason for optimism. And whilst it's possible to win, you know, it's very motivating because it's hard to imagine, it's hard to explain, but it's almost like it's like a drug. You know, you once you've won, you don't want to not have that feeling again. And the problem is it doesn't last for very long. You know, it vanishes quite fast, but you know, it's incredible. So it's it's hard work because you live your life that way. You know, you sacrifice a lot and you put in the hard yards and work to try and do that. And but it's all I've ever known as well. You know, I've been a battler ever since I joined the World Superbike Championship back in '09, and you know, even in BSB as far back as I had my first okay, I didn't win in my first superbike year, but I've won races most of my career each year, and that always gives you that wee bit of optimism for the next year. Hopefully you can win again, and of course that's the target. To win more races and hopefully can be a bit closer to the championship next year.
Is there? Can you see an end to it, or is Tosh giving you an end date, or are you just going to carry on until you physically can't do this anymore?
Sorry, I missed that. Must be a bad connection. What was that?
Right. Have you have you got an end date to this, or has Tash given you an end date to this, or will there just be a day where you think, I can't fucking do this anymore? That's it. I'm done. Thank you very much, Kawasaki. Good night.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Maybe if I was a bit closer with Chaz, I might have reached out and asked him how his retirement came about. Because for me, it wasn't okay. It wasn't sudden. You just didn't see it coming. And I think maybe it creeps up on you. Maybe it's something that hits you like a steam train. But of course, I've committed my future now the next 2 years to Kawasaki, so I'm fully focused on that. And then, you know, I don't want to say this is my last contract, but I don't want to still be here in 5 years' time and still. I want to race till I'm competitive and I'm enjoying it. There's not been moments where I've thought about walking away. I also thought about Eugene announcing his retirement this year, and I remember saying to Tarshan on Monday after the race, if I was done, like I'd be pretty empty on Monday, thinking what's next, because I haven't got irons in the fire. I haven't thought about what's next. I haven't thought. Nothing lights my fire like competitive racing. So yeah, God knows, but yeah, my future's sorted at the minute.